home right here is going to be a total loss. The good news is that we are told that this house, again on East Calaveras, was empty at the time, not occupied, that the gentleman that was living here had recently passed. It was closed, and now this home, just about a short time ago, caught fire, even with the winds dying down. We saw one water drop, and everyone here hopeful that we're going to see more of those air assets up in the air, and they're able to put out these hot spots as they pop up.
Bob DeCastro, thank you. We'll check back in with you. Let's go to Christy Fajardo in Altadena, where unfortunately we see more flames. Christy.
Yeah, this is actually an Aldi food market that is on fire, and this is at the corner of Lake and Calaveras, and all around us we're seeing devastation. I'm going to show you this first, and then we're going to walk across the street so you can see that there are buildings over there that burned as well. And that is what we're seeing as we are driving through Altadena. Just block after block, we'll see a home or whole blocks that are leveled, and firefighters, as you can see, are here, and I'm seeing smoke coming over from that direction. I don't know if it's that building or something behind it that is burning, and the grocery outlet next to it so far appears okay, but you can see that this Aldi food market is producing a lot of smoke, also a lot of flames, and that creates more problems for firefighters because, as we've seen time and time again, the winds come in and they kick up embers, and see the debris that's flying, and see how large those embers are? That is why they are dedicating so many resources into trying to get this out. In fact, I want to show you what we're seeing. Just the size, I don't want to touch it because it might be hot, but just the size of the ash that is falling. That came from that building over there. And walk with me, because I mentioned that there were other buildings here that had also burned, and you can see across the street, whatever that was is completely gone. And if we pan that way, we can see that another building over there is also on fire. See the brick building, Gino, just to the left of it? And also producing very large flames, and it looks like that might be an apartment complex next to it, so hopefully everyone there got out. And even seeing what is on fire can be difficult, because I'm looking at the building across, and you can see the reflection of the flames in the windows. So some people might mistake that for that building actually burning, when in fact it's just a reflection. And even now, we're just seeing people riding through, strolling through. Very eerie. And we heard Bobby talking about neighbors trying to use hoses and having trouble getting water. I did ask a fire captain about that with LA County Fire, and he told me that it's just because so many people are trying to use hoses at once, and so it's depleting or affecting the pressure. Here, though, firefighters appear to have water. We're seeing them again trying to get this building out, and I want to pan back this way because we're seeing even more embers flying, very large embers, and it's just picking up so much smoke, so much ash, and again these very sequence flying right as a car's driving through. So a very dangerous situation here. Let's send it back to you.
It reminds me of the Ralphs that burned down, and the Gelsons in the Palisades. This is another grocery store, this time in Altadena, for the Eaton fire. Christy, thank you so much for that. I know that we're going to go to... Go ahead.
When I was in the Palisades yesterday, there were not people walking around when those structures were burning. So that is what sort of stands out to me, is that you do have people walking, as there's two guys there, one with a cell phone taking video, and I did not see that last night in the Palisades, maybe early on, but by the time it was night, it had cleared out.
Sure, yes, absolutely. A complete difference between night and day, literally. Chris Christy, stay safe. Thank you so much. Alex, there's been a lot of questions about the lack of water as it relates to the Palisades fire, and we're hearing from the public information officer from LAFD, Eric Scott, who just put out a message about this not long ago, and he's addressing it. He says, and this is his words, "We did experience some challenges with water pressure while battling the Pacific Palisades fire. LADWP proactively filled all available water storage tanks, including 3 1-million-gallon tanks located in the Palisades area. However, water..."
Until February 1st. On January 6th, we're starting a 4-week chair workout challenge for beginners over 50. Here's a personalized plan of 7-minute chair workouts designed just for men over 50. Do this to get a flat belly, ease pain, and strengthen your joints. It's beginner-friendly, simple, safe, and requires no equipment. All you have to do is open the app and follow along.
The largest and most trusted heating and air conditioning companies in the state of Delaware. If you're here in Delaware or Maryland and you need a new furnace or heating system as it's getting super, super cold, December and June.
Now, several of these houses on fire. Neighbors here telling me Henry Ford's house down the street here is on fire, and it is just awful, awful, awful to see. Now, firefighters are telling these neighbors that these trees hold a lot of moisture, and so they theoretically won't catch on fire, but neighbors aren't so sure now. They didn't expect this. They're keeping their neighbors across the street here at 573 informed. So we're on the corner of Santa Rosa Avenue and Alameda Street, and this historical landmark, just to give you a little bit more information, is 135 of these trees planted in 1885 by the Woodbury family, first organized by Nash in 1920. So a mile of Christmas trees, 105 years old, and it was registered as a historical landmark. I remember I've been here. When we would talk about the best Christmas trees, best Christmas lights, in Southern California, on a weekly basis. I've been here many times. I've seen these houses, and it's obviously a very joyful time. The neighbors here are amazing. I'm going to introduce you to these two nice people, Patrick and Julie, who just keep, for 6 hours, they've been spraying water on Julie's home here. Patrick, we're on Fox 11. Thanks for being so kind. Can you tell us a little bit more about this area and just obviously what you're going through?
Extremely historic. I'm here as a friend helping my good friends of the family. And as you see, there's a house on fire across the street. We're just trying to keep it wet. There's a lot of, floating debris. There are embers coming.
Cars coming through.
If this lights up, it can light up these trees, and we don't want it to come to the house. Yeah. But yes, if you look all the way down, it's Christmas tree land. It's very famous. Christmas through the entire month of December, they have all this lit up. The lights, it's really beautiful.
And Henry house down. You know anything about that?
I believe and Julie can tell you more about that. But yeah.
Do you know these neighbors?
I don't. They do know. I know. I believe everybody's out of the house, obviously, and we checked that earlier, and they're out of town right now. So
How far away do you live?
I live in South Pasadena.
You need to come help out. Waking up today and seeing the devastation.
A lot of people say surreal, but it is part of life, and you just have to keep calm and carry on with it. Just try to do as much as you can to prevent, any other issues. So that's why I came with friends today to help them out.
It's really nice of you to help out. And I keep seeing that time and time again, people helping, their neighbors and their friends.
But, you know, in South Pass, we woke up, you know, even last night, so smelling smoke. And we're like, wow, we've never had that much smoke in this area, you know. And so, of course, wee hours of the morning, we got a call from our friends and said, hey, we might be coming your way. And I said, all right. You know, then we were able to come back in again and check out what was going on over here and try to help them out a little bit.
Did you pack a bag last night?
I'm always ready, so you never know. Yeah, no, fortunately where we're at, it wasn't that much of a problem compared to here, so.
Thank you.
Oh, no worries.
Julie we'll see if Julie's still. Thank you very, very much. Yeah, this neighborhood is amazing. The neighbors just welcoming, you know, the general public. Obviously, this is a huge thing during Christmas time, and thousands and thousands of people come on their streets, and they're just so kind and welcoming, and obviously the decorations are amazing. Julie Green, thank you very much for your time and help with this. Tell me first a little bit about what you're going through.
It sucks. Yeah, Altadena and Los Angeles is on fire, and we're trying our hardest to just douse it out.
What did the firefighters just tell you?
I was concerned about our neighbor's house across the street lighting one of these trees on fire, and they said that over there.
He's still gone.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He said large trees like this tend to not burn, so you shouldn't be too afraid. He said we're pretty good, but we're still going to douse the ones that are on our neighborhood.
Okay. Did you pack a bag? Ready to go, I'm sure?
We started packing at 6 o'clock last night, and we got our Airstream out, and our kid and our dog. They're safely down in South Pass, but
I'm sure a lot of people, you know, had this thought last night where you're looking around your house and you're like, how do I even know? Obviously, you grab the essentials, but yeah, what to take?
It's kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy what to take. You know, you realize at the end of the day, they're just things. As long as my kid's okay, as long as my husband is all right, and I'm not burnt, you know, that's what's important. But these trees are important to us, too. Firefighters, come out. If you can, if you think they're going to start burning, save Christmas Tree Lane. It's 110 years old. It's the oldest tree lighting ceremony in the United States.
And Henry Ford's house down the road.
Henry Ford. You've got Saul Bass's old case study house.
Thank you very much, Julie. We'll bring you more as soon as we get I really hope that Save Christmas Tree Lane, she says. Thank you, Julie and Patrick. And we'll leave you with this shot here of their neighbor's house smoldering. Thank you. Stay safe, too. I'll send it back to you guys.
Haley, thank you. So our viewers have been listening to Haley Winslow and her reporting there in Altadena. And this is another area of Altadena. This is the Aldi food market that is engulfed right now. As you can see, Christy Fajardo was showing us these live pictures earlier, and it looks like still no fire crews anywhere.
Are you talking to me? I'm sorry, Marla, I'm having trouble hearing. So there are fire crews here, but we were told that one crew that we were actually witnessing trying to hook up to that hydrant had to leave because they couldn't get water. Instead, it was a combination of pressure and also hose size. So they've gone somewhere else to try to get water. We can see that they're clearing out even as this is burning. And here comes one engine. It appears another one is arriving as the others are leaving. And this has been kicking up quite a bit of smoke. And I did just speak to someone who came back to the straw where I'm standing to lock up a veterinary hospital. He told me that they were out here at 4 a.m. clearing out animals, evacuating the animals that were at the hospital. And it got so hairy that they actually had to crawl out because there was so much smoke. They said they got all of the animals out, then they got themselves out, but they forgot to lock the door. So they just came back to do that. They were all masked up. And we're seeing firefighters now hooking up to this hydrant, and appears there is water. Yes, because we're seeing some spraying out of the top there. So one left, as I said, they indicated it was a combination of hose size and water pressure. It looks like this fire engine has the right hose, so hopefully they can start tending to this fire and to these flames. But with with so much demand right now for water, it has been an issue, as we've seen time and time again during the fight here and also in the Palisades last night. And I want you to walk with me, because if we walk over here, you can just see how much devastation, and the people from the veterinary hospital, which is right there, when they had to leave this morning, this over here was what was on fire. And you can see how much has been destroyed here. Building after building, cars also leveled, but there are no buildings blocking our view right now. So that is how many businesses, possibly homes as well here, that have been destroyed. It's just unbelievable to look at this. Let's send it back to you.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling. It's hard to really process, given that this is a scene that we've seen play out in the Palisades. First, that was, of course, what started all of our coverage, and then last night, the Eaton fire broke out as just a 10-acre brush fire, and here we are, almost 11,000 acres. Well, it's good to see and hear the fire crews there. Hopefully they get their water situation worked out. Christy, did you want to say something else?
Well, I was just looking, and it looked like there's a realty business and some others, and you see, and I saw this last night in the Pacific Palisades, but again today, that people have lost livelihoods, they've lost their businesses, people have lost their homes, and sadly, as we know here in the Eaton fire, 2 people also lost their lives. And I was talking about this earlier, just how large the debris is that is coming off of the Aldi food market there, and it's very large debris. You can see all the floor is littered with it, but we're also seeing it completely, Gino, if you can pan around, on the other side of this parking lot. So those very large pieces of burning ash, those embers are flying all the way across the parking lot, and right now it isn't that windy, so you can imagine what it would be like when we have those really strong gusts. And Gino, can you pan towards the grocery outlet? Look at that. Look at all of that ash and falling debris littering that parking lot over there.
Wow. It is now 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You are watching Fox 11 Los Angeles and our continuing live coverage of the firestorms hitting Southern California. I'm Alex Michelson with Marla Tellez, Christy Fajardo on the ground right now in Altadena. We are looking at the Aldi market, this food market, which is up in flames. That fire, the Eaton fire, more than 10,000 acres burned. And we are seeing now in the middle of the day some firefighters arriving to try to do the best they can, but there's serious damage to this market, if not a total loss coming. And Christy, it's interesting to see the streets open and people sort of going about their business while all this is underway.
It is. It's stunning. I've seen so many people walking by, even teenagers on skateboards with their cell phones and milling about, obviously, most likely, posting to social media about what they're seeing. I did not see that, I should say, last night in the Pacific Palisades. Early on, there were people who were coming out and taking pictures, but when things got very scary, which they did, just about every neighborhood that we went to had completely cleared out.
Well, I mean, that is good news, because we've seen that time and time again where people haven't listened to the evacuation order, and then next thing you know, their lives are in danger. So glad that the neighborhoods have cleared out, but it's so devastating. It's an understatement, I know, but you know, when you see these businesses, big or small, being just destroyed by Mother Nature and the flames that have erupted, and then just to hear from LA County Fire Chief Maroney today basically said even if all hands on deck of all of Southern California crews were fighting these fires, it wouldn't be enough, which is why we're seeing fire crews from out of state, from Northern California, coming to our aid, thank goodness. And one of the highlights that I've seen today in our coverage is finally being able to see the helicopters and the water drops, because of course we didn't see a lot of that yesterday. The super scoopers were out in all of their glory and capability to drop 1,600 gallons of water yesterday on the Palisades fire, but that obviously didn't do a whole lot, and they weren't out for long, and they were grounded overnight. So to see air tankers out today, that's been great news. But as I'm saying this, obviously, the firefight is a very serious one here in Altadena. The Eaton fire, this started just sort of on one corner of it when we came to Christie, and now it looks like it's completely engulfed. And obviously, you know, big concerns because Christie reporting that when they pulled up, the hose size wasn't right for the fire extinguisher in one of the instances, and then another instance, the water pressure wasn't there. So they had to sort of get it. I believe it was they got a new engine to get there with a bigger hose size, and now we're seeing that the water should be dousing this fight soon. Let's hope.
And the real good news.
Yeah, you know, Marla, I don't know what happened with that fire engine. We did see them trying to hook up the hydrant, but by the time we came back, when I was showing you those businesses across the street that had burned, the engine was gone. So I don't know if they were able to get water. I wasn't able to follow up with them. We are seeing another engine here, but right now no one is battling these flames. And also, you know, I want to mention, because I keep hearing from people that are asking me to check on their homes, and we see this in every wildfire. Neighbors who can't go home, and they don't know if it's still standing. I know many have used Ring Video, but when you have power outages, that often no longer works unless it's battery powered. So we are hoping to drive around. We do have a dash camera on our live van, so we're hoping to drive around so we can show people the streets and what it looks like, and hopefully get some answers for some of those neighbors that are now, those homeowners that are so worried.
Yeah, and that's a public service. Hopefully we can do a little bit later on. And part of the good news today, this afternoon, is that the winds are expected to get a little better than they were yesterday. And so hopefully we can start to move from the worst of this thing to, you know, trying to get a hold on this a little bit and get some containment on these fires. Haley Winslow joining us now from Altadena, and she's got a resident there with her. Haley.
He's a desperate resident. Yeah, he just ran up to me right after we were on a few minutes ago. He said, please, please, please help me. Chris, tell us what's going on.
Hi. I was told that my house burned down. I drove up. I needed to see it. I wanted to get some clothes for my son. The entire neighborhood is burnt down, but somehow my house does not even have a scratch. There's no fire damage. I went in, but the house next to mine is still on fire. So I'm going around begging anybody to come put out that fire to protect my home.
Because there's no water.
There's no water pressure. I tried to turn on the water myself. I would have tried to put it out, but I have no water pressure, so I have no way of putting it out.
So you and your wife are just trying to go get bottled water?
Yeah, so my wife went to get bottled water. I'm going to meet her down the hill, and we're just going to try and throw bottled water on it, but I don't know if that's going to work.
You need a lot more than that. And so the firefighters said that you're basically not on the list right now?
They said they had a list of places to go. They're spread thin. I understand. I really understand.
Yeah, I know, but... so you're just begging somebody, if anybody's got water and can help, you're about a mile down the road from here. Tell us your address.
I'm at 615 East Los Flores Drive, Altadena, California, 91001. I'm begging anyone to help put out this fire.
So he's got fire basically all around his house, and somehow there's no damage to his house yet, but it's only a matter of time, and there's literally no water to be able to fight it himself.
Correct.
Is there anything else you want to say?
Help. Please help. I mean, it's from based on the size of the fire to the east of my house, it probably will take 5 to 10 minutes for a hose to put it out. That's it. 5 to 10 minutes, then you can go to the next place.
And Chris Anderson, just so you guys understand, his uncle's house burned down, his mother's house burned down today. He used to live in Pasadena. He moved to Altadena to be closer to them, and now this is what he's dealing with. This is what all of the residents are dealing with. And tell me about your family, what they're going through, too, to wake up to their house gone.
I couldn't even tell my youngest son that the house was burned down when they told me it burned down because he was already worried. He was already crying. When I told my oldest son that it was burned down, he's 20 years old. He started crying. So to find out that my house is still standing, I immediately told them. They are so overjoyed. I would hate to have to come back, only to come back tomorrow, and now it's burned down because I couldn't get a little help.
What's this like for you and your neighbors? I can't imagine the stress level that you're...
Oh, my God. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's terrifying. It is really terrifying. Even before they put out the evacuation, notice from my neighborhood. My mom's had 3 strokes. I called my brother and his sister and my sister-in-law and told them to get my mom out of there. And I started packing even before they gave the official evacuation notice to my house. Because I've been through this. I've lived in Altadena before. I know with the wind and the fire, it was coming. It was just a matter of time.
Chris, what was that moment like when you had to pack and figure out what to bring, and you're looking around and you're knowing that your uncle and your mom's house already burned down? Take me to that moment when you're looking around.
You're terrified. You just assume you're about to lose everything. I mean, that's all you can think about is the house that your kids grew up in is about to burn down, and your kids are scared. You just want to protect it for your kids, for your family. And that's what I was trying to do. And that's what I'm still trying to do, because the house has no fire damage. I need someone just to put out that small fire next to it to make sure it stays that way.
And again, the address is 615.
615 East Las Flores Drive.
Just about a mile away from here on Christmas Tree Lane on Alameda and Santa Rosa. And you're obviously familiar with this area. What does this neighborhood mean to you?
This neighborhood means a lot. My uncle used to own a house right at the end of Christmas Tree Lane on the west side before he moved up to the house that burned down, unfortunately, on Mountain Drive last night.
It's a historical landmark. It's unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, my stomach's in knots. I can't imagine.
I mean, it's horrible. I hope I can get some help. To know that my house is standing and then I might lose it because I just couldn't get help, that would even be more painful than it being gone last night.
So again, I mean, I know that, LAFD was asking only firefighters yesterday that are, with the force, but maybe off duty to help. But maybe if there's somebody out there who's got firefighter experience and they're trying to see what they can do, anything you can do to help guys like Chris Anderson who are just begging, they're out of water and there's nothing else he can do. I know he could really use the help. We're reporting live here in Altadena. I'm Haley Winslow. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Haley, we feel for him, wish Chris the best, and hopefully the community can come together to rally behind him. One of the big storylines that we've been talking about in different areas has been the lack of water for firefighters in certain areas at certain times. Basically, the fire hydrants just don't have enough water. How did that happen? What's going on with that? This morning, the head of LADWP was pressed for answers. Here's what was said.
Starting Monday, we started activating an emergency operating plan, and our emergency operating plan calls for us to fill all our tanks and reservoirs to the maximum levels. So the tanks and Palisades were maxed out on water. We also fill our diesel tanks for our generators because we need energy in the pumps to move water. And so all of that was taking place before the emergency started. So we were ready for the emergency. What we were not ready for is fighting an urban fire with no air assets combating that. Fire department was fighting this fire from the ground through the fire hydrants, and the amount of water that was taken was just more than we can supply.
Does that answer the question of when we were over the Palisades last night late in the village then, and Rick Caruso saying that there's no water left? Is that the answer to that issue as well?
That's what she's talking about there, yeah.
Specifically.
Basically, that the tank was as full as it could get, and then we ran out of water, and then there was nothing else. The system was overwhelmed, and they didn't have the helicopters, which would help with a different water source, which would have come from the ocean. But still, not sure if that answer is satisfactory for the people that watched last night, or for the fire crews who really could do nothing as homes and schools and other businesses burned as we watched live on the air, and some continue to burn right now.
Christy Fajardo, she's outside the Aldi Market. This is in Altadena for the Eaton fire, and what's the latest there in that firefight?
Well, Marla, we've heard so much about the lack of water and hydrants not working. And what we're seeing here, you can see one engine driving off, and it's become sort of an assembly line. And we're told that the reason is that this fire hydrant, one across the street and one just down the street from us, maybe about 200 feet, are 3 of the fire hydrants in the general area that are actually working. So firefighters are coming, they are filling up the engines, and then they are leaving to go try to fight the fire somewhere else. They have cleared out of the Aldi now. We're not seeing anyone trying to defend it at all at this hour. But you did see in the last live shot that we saw an engine, we saw the hose get bigger, which indicated it was being filled with water, and then it took off before we got back to it. And now we know why. It is again because these fire engines are coming here to fill up because they know these 3 hydrants work, and they are then heading out to all of these areas that you see with black smoke billowing up to try to minimize the effects of this very devastating fire. And now they're gathering actually here in this parking lot. See, 2 more engines have just arrived. And another one, if we pan to the right over there, is also just arriving. And for now, at least, there are 3 working hydrants at Calaveras and Lake. Let's send it back to you.
All right, Christy Fajardo, thank you. And we continue to follow what's happening there. We want to give you an update to what we saw happen a few hours ago. We want to show you this. This was some video that I shot on my phone of Marine One landing in Santa Monica. President Biden was in town today. The real reason he was in town was to see the birth of his great-grandchild at Cedars-Sinai. They scheduled a national monument trip to sort of justify that, which didn't end up happening. He was here, and so because he was here, they did a photo op today with Governor Newsom. Pretty brief. You see him there with the head of CAL FIRE as well, getting a briefing. The president did not answer any questions from the media. He read some notes that were prepared for him off a piece of paper, and Governor Newsom praised him for quickly giving him federal funding, and then the president was off. Here's part of the briefing, though, that the president got from Kristen Crowley, who, of course, leads the LA Fire Department.
Helicopters, fire engines.
I've never seen the winds in my 25-year career, so we lean forward as much as possible and pre-deployed. With that, we had a significant amount of fire that occurred. We had an aggressive fire attack. The fire has grown from originally 10 acres to 10,802 acres as we speak.
That was from the earlier briefing with President Biden and other top local officials there in LA County. You have been watching the coverage on Fox 11 Los Angeles right here on Live Now from Fox. We'll take a 2-minute break. When we come back, more coverage from Fox 11.
not a good look, America. Not a good look. This is America.
More devastating images coming out of LA County. What we are going to do now, go get you back out to Fox 11 Los Angeles coverage. If they ever do end their coverage, you will see more from us here on Live Now from Fox. But in the meantime, more from Fox 11.
Not look good.
Lost, but we're thinking well over 1,000 as it relates to just the Pacific Palisades fire alone.
I talked to the head of CAL FIRE off camera this morning, and he said that it's the worst fire he's ever seen in 27 years, and so they think over 1,000 structures burned. Meanwhile, the Eden fire, also very devastating. We just got word a few moments ago that there's going to be a media briefing at 4 o'clock today, which we'll carry live here on Fox 11. Hopefully we'll get some more information there in terms of not only acreage, but the plan going forward, and maybe some good news when it comes to the weather as well.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the bad news as it relates to the forecast is that red flag warning was supposed to expire tonight at 6 o'clock.
Make that make sense to you, because it doesn't make sense to me, honestly.
The industrial grade products you need. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
You overwhelmed with identity management in the context of omnipresent threats to your organization.
Hi, so it looked like we've heard the war zone term phrase, but it did. It looked, all of those down trees, debris everywhere, and not a lot of people out and about.
Right. And that's the thing. If you can avoid driving around, it's a good thing to avoid that today. There's a lot of folks who are going to have to be on the road because of these emergency situations, and to try to clear the way for them. It's a good day to stay home if you can. Plus, a bad day to be outside with the air quality. Do your workouts indoors if you can. Make the dog walk pretty quick. I mean, it's very unhealthy air out there for much of Southern California.
So you mentioned the Eden fire. We have word that press conference to update us. We'll have it at 4 o'clock. That's from the Pasadena Convention Center, which, by the way, serves as an evacuation center for those folks in Altadena who need it. We're back with Christy Fajardo there. Christy, you're outside the Aldi food market. Fire trucks going on behind you as well. The latest.
Yeah, well, we just saw actually a U.S. Forest Service truck pull up here at this hydrant. And while that engine was filling up its water tank, the U.S. Forest Service was doing the same. And there's another hydrant right over there. In fact, you can see it. And there's a third across the street. And we are told that there are only 3 working hydrants in the general area. So there's a few others a couple of miles away. But this one is the one in the general vicinity. And that is why the word has gone out. And firefighters from different agencies are coming here to fill up. And they're working very, very quickly. They are filling up and then leaving. And there are a couple of engines right now in the parking lot.
Memories.
And here comes another. But they have completely abandoned the firefight in the Aldi. And right now it looks, if we can fan that way into the window, it looks like the inside now is burning as well. At one point, we did not see flames coming from the window. We only saw it from the rooftop, but that looks like that has changed, and that could be perhaps why firefighters decided that there was no saving this building. Earlier, though, when we first got here, we saw the flames were much, much larger, and there was debris and really massive embers flying all around. That seems to have tapered off a bit, and hopefully stays that way. But if we walk over here, you can see some of the chunks of debris that flew over here. We saw chunks of debris on the other side of the parking lot, so it was spreading pretty far. And I want to walk down the street because it looks like something next door to this building here has also been leveled. And we've not been able to walk over there previously because there were a lot of fire engines and firefighters, and we did not want to get in their way. But I'm looking, and I'm seeing quite a bit of debris on the ground and on the sidewalk. So, yeah, sadly, it looks like something else was destroyed over there as well. Right now, I'm walking past the Altadena Florist. This building is made of brick. So I'm not seeing any damage, at least not from my vantage point, but right next door, wow, multiple businesses here. Oh, this is really heartbreaking to see, have been destroyed, and it looks like it goes on for the entire block. And sadly, we are seeing quite a few images, quite a few scenes like this one in Altadena this morning. And Gino, if you pan that way, you can see it's not just this building, it's the one next to it, and possibly one more as well. Let's send it back to you.
So much destruction to process and take in. This is in Altadena, the Eaton fire. And speaking of all of that destruction, it is really sickening to have to report that LA County Sheriff Robert Luna reported some arrests because of looters in the area of the Eaton fire. Let's go ahead and listen to what he had to say about that.
If you are thinking about coming into any of these areas to steal from our residents, I'm going to tell you something. You're going to be caught. You're going to be arrested, and you're going to be prosecuted. Don't do that. Stay out of these areas. It's only for emergency workers and people who live there.
So 2 looters were arrested in a wildfire evacuation zone. That was in relation to the Eaton fire. And this is a shot from, which camera is this? This is from our roof cam in West Los Angeles. Wow. So Fox 11 is here on the west side of Los Angeles, adjacent to Santa Monica. And this is our camera looking out toward, it looks like this would be the Palisades fire. And just that massive plume of black smoke, which Alex and I witnessed all day yesterday. And you know, what's interesting here, though, is don't see a lot of the active flames, which yesterday we did see, but obviously they are there. Don't be fooled by that. It looks like Star Hardy is here now to talk about the forecast. I just mentioned that red flag warning that was supposed to expire at 6, but no, it's been extended.
Yeah, it's extended into portions of tomorrow, and so we have a lot more to get through in terms of this fire weather. Taking a look at that, just plume of smoke. I live in what I would consider the center of the San Fernando Valley, and aside from the Silmar fire and yes, the Woodley fire there, we just are surrounded by fire, no matter or smoke, no matter which way you look around. And so, bringing you right into our headlines here, we are continuing to see that widespread potential for our windstorm, where we are seeing those wind gusts again get upwards of, I'd say 60 to 80 plus miles per hour. Now, we are seeing a lull in the wind activity, but again, we are not in the clear because we do have those advisories that have been extended. Our sustained winds anywhere from 20 to 40 miles per hour. You take that and you also add in our dry vegetation out there. We're talking humidity values from single digits into the teens, and that's what allows for, these are the ingredients that allows for all of this dangerous weather. We are continuing to see that rapid growth and spread, out in Eaton, where I've seen Bob at, just those embers just really just floating by and starting those new fires in some of those homes. Then we're going to continue to probably see that until these winds actually do die down. And not just the fire, we are talking the likelihood of more downed trees as well as those power lines. And I myself have seen that as well, moving through the San Fernando Valley and coming down the 405 here to our station. Plenty of those intersections, the lights are out. And so we got to do our best to play safe out there if we are not in those immediate fire zones. But again, here's a look at our red flag warning. It includes all of this highlighted pink area. It is in effect for the rest of today. It has been extended by the National Weather Service through portions of tomorrow. And again, this is not just going to be subject to portions of the Pacific Palisade region or into portions of Silmar or Eden, Altadena area. We are talking all of this highlighted pink area here. Get a look at it because the ingredients are there for this fire to spread across any of this region or to ignite across that area. And so we have the dry conditions but also the windy weather out there. And with the winds in place, this is the alert that we're looking at, also extended through portions of today as well, where we are looking at our winds stretching across portions of the Inland Empire, our high desert, our low desert, the Los Angeles Basin, our mountains, as well as portions of Orange County. And this is going to be with those winds kicking up, not just sustained, but also with their gusts. We do show some of the area getting a little bit of that lull there, but still a lot of the region still moving in those double digits. This is our sustained winds. Here's a look at our gusts. Even though those numbers not showing up here through that 5 corridor, we do still show them gusting with that contour active there, moving anywhere from about, I'd say, 30 to 45 miles per hour across the region. This is a look into this afternoon, where we do still show our map fully contoured here, stretching into this evening as well, where we do show things slightly going down, but then bumping right back up, moving into portions of tomorrow morning, which is the likelihood as to why those alerts, watches, and warnings were extended. Our humidity values, just as we've been talking about, on the dry side, single digits, and this is across a lot of the Los Angeles Basin, where these numbers we usually see in our desert communities. So we got a lot to get through, not just for your Wednesday, but pushing into when these weather alerts are going to be expiring. I'll have more details on what's happening here in the weather department, but for now, back to you guys.
All right, Star, thanks so much. Haley Winslow's there, and you have some neighbors who are actually helping the firefighters there?
Yeah, so we're, Marla, on our way to Henry Ford's house that's on fire down the street, but on the way, we see obviously this house on fire, and then we saw something really incredible. See this hose, this garden hose? This is connected to the fire truck, and this homeowner is filling up the fire truck tank with their hose so that they can fight these fires. They are out of water everywhere north of Woodbury, so none of the fire hydrants have any water in them, which is why these homeowners, you see them spraying, you know, the flames themselves with the garden hose. So this homeowner is letting this truck here at 20 fill up the tank and let them go on their way so that they can fight not only this fire, but the houses on fire all down this road. You're talking to me in the control room. I can't hear you, so you can say that again. But we're going to walk back here to, the firefighters are a little bit shy, but this guy is the one who owns the home and is kindly donating his water. Sir, sorry to bother you. We're at Fox 11, and we were just talking about how you were kind enough to let them fill up their tank with the water, the fire department.
I have no comments. That's fine. We got to help the community.
Okay, thank you.
Of course, no problem.
What is this like for you to go through? Are you doing okay?
Yeah, we're doing good. Thank God we were able to save our house, and it's very unfortunate for everybody else.
Thank you.
Of course.
I'm praying for you. Thank you. Thank you guys for all that you do. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. They're obviously stretched very thin. This house next door, Marla, obviously a total loss. And Christmas Tree Lane, which is, you know, right next door where we just were live a minute ago, Rand McNally used to live on that road. You know, he was the guy who invented the maps. Tons and tons and tons of famous people. A graphic designer that is very well known. So if you remember the 3 blue lines on the AT&T logo, Sal Bass. Sal Bass used to live on that street too. He also did the logo for the Girl Scouts, for tons of movies. So just a lot of famous people. Some people that didn't want me to tell them that tell people that they live on that road, but just some really nice houses that are completely engulfed. And Henry Ford's obviously his home from Victoria times. It's down the street here. This is my friend.
What's the garden hose?
This is Ryan, and he's a freelance photographer who told us about this. Andrew, sorry. Andrew, we're on Fox 11. Do you mind telling me what you were saying about the water?
So there's no water north of Woodbury. Well, for whatever reason, there's no water. So the firefighters over there from wherever they're at, LA County, they are literally using the garden hose to fill up their truck. It's either that or they have to leave, fill up down below Woodbury, and then come back up.
I saw you on the fire truck. What's this like for you? I mean,
I haven't covered much news in 20 years. I actually am a full-time teacher at Jamamerican High School. I teach media arts, and Last night I was up till about 3. It's absolutely scary, and especially this is my neighborhood. I live like half a mile or a mile down the street.
So as Andrew was telling me too, anytime you see a fire hydrant, you guys, the blue cap, that means that it's out of water.
So yeah, there's no water if there's a blue cap. Some of the other ones have more pressure. The firefighter was telling me that as you go south, the pressure gets worse. But they're doing the absolute best they can. And I would say the best thing that I saw from the fires last night, make sure you don't have any like debris right next to your house that was catching on fire. I put out a few of those last night with just people's garden hoses. If you have time, stretch out the garden hose, make it easy for someone walking by, and turn it on, but like have a cap on there so it's not wasting the water. But the houses that did that, it was really easy to save and to put out fires. The other ones, see ya.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's, we always say the defensible space should be 20 feet, 100 feet if you can, but waking up today, all over Southern California, there's debris everywhere from the winds, which is a very good point to clean up, because that's only going to create more fuel. Did you want to say something?
I just want to tell you what really happened. They emptied most of that tank on our house, and they left a little bit just for last-minute emergency. And they were sitting there, and they were nice enough to wait in case something happens. And then while they were waiting, they were using our hose to fill it up. It's not like they were desperate for water.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to add.
Andrew was saying that there's not any water north of Woodbury.
That's probably, but in this particular scenario, they left a little bit in the tank to just finish up if something happens. That's what I want to add. Pasadena has water. I don't think we have any issues.
The fire hydrants, they were saying, don't have any water.
That's probably something. I'm just saying this scenario. Yeah, they were waiting. They left a little bit because the fire kept coming this way, and they couldn't use all. And while they were waiting, they just wanted to use the hose.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. I really appreciate it. All right, we'll get clarity on the fire hydrants too. But I know that I was told earlier there wasn't any water north of Woodbury, which is what Andrew was saying too. So we'll get some clarity on that. We're going to keep going down the street and find Henry Ford's house, and we'll be back to you in a little bit. Reporting live here in Altadena, I'm Haley Winslow at the Eager Fire. Back to you.
Haley Winslow, thank you. You can see, Marla, really how the communities all over the place are stepping up. So many people want to do whatever they can to help. A lot of people asking.
We've been watching some of the coverage there from Fox 11. We will continue to do so this evening. We are going to take another 2-minute break. Stay right here with us. More coverage in just moments.
Guys, what are your take on this? What are your take on this, guys? This does not look good. This is no joke. This is real life, real people, assets, real people, house and family life, and all that they work for. What do you take of this, guys? I am disgruntled, personally. California always a fire. Not today, yesterday, or last year. It's been years California always having fire, but for some reason, America have money to send to different countries when they have predicaments, but not putting in proper infrastructure for this state. I don't understand it. I'm trying to understand it, but I can't. What do you say about this? What's your take?
Back, more coverage of the breaking news out of LA County with these massive wildfires. Let's go back onto the coverage. Fox 11, Los Angeles.
And it's still occurring because I can see flames on the other side of all of this debris, and it looks like that actually might be burning about a block away. But if we pan to the right, past this Jack in the Box, you'll see that something else is on fire. And if we pan across the street, you'll see something is burning over there as well. And in front of what is burning, there's a sign with a happy or a smiling tooth. And you gotta believe, or at least looks like there was a dentist office there, and that has been completely leveled. And the building in front of it, Brian's Cleaners, is also badly damaged. And across the street, we don't even know what was there because the sign has been destroyed as well. And next door to it, another building completely leveled. And we're just seeing business after business destroyed. And again, behind everyone, there is a family or a person who thought of this, who worked hard to make it a reality, and now it's completely gone. And unfortunately, it seems like everywhere we go, we're just seeing that in Altadena. There'll be one building, like the Jack in the Box, that it looks unscathed, and the one right next door that is a total loss. And I hear this time and time again while covering wildfires. People wonder, why did one building survive and another didn't? And sometimes it's just luck of the draw. Listen about it.
Yeah, you're really at the whim of Mother Nature, depending on where that wind blows, where that ember ends up. And we've seen that happen time and time again, where an entire neighborhood, one side of the street could be completely wiped out, the other side unscathed. It's amazing how that happens. And we've seen those embers fly miles. And that's part of the problem, especially when you have these destructive winds that certainly are not letting up, and that red flag warning, as we heard, extended into tomorrow. Obviously, Christy, I meant to say out of the gate, we're so sorry to hear the personal connection that your home is now under an evacuation warning. Let us know, obviously, if there's anything that we can do, if your family's safe, etc. Let's hope that that does not turn into an evacuation order.
Yeah, thank you so much, Marla. I mean, we did think ahead. I did pack my car this morning when I came to work, and my daughter is staying with my cousin in another part of town, so she's safe. I am worried about my pet, but my husband has come up with a contingency plan to go get our bearded dragon if necessary.
Well, yeah. I'm glad you have a plan. That doesn't surprise me. You are, on top of everything. So, Christy, we're obviously thinking of you and wishing that everything works out just fine.
Yeah, this fire hitting so close to home for so many people. Christy, thank you. Meanwhile, we continue to look at live pictures, and now it looks like our choppers at True Skyfox is over this fire. I believe for the first time. We were grounded because of those dramatic winds. It is good to see that our chopper is now up, and it'd be great to get some guidance on which flank of this fire. I think this is Pacific Palisades, but yeah, Pacific Palisades fire, which we know has burned about 16,000 acres or so far, and you look at it from the air and you really, wow, look at that as we pan out, just all that smoke, and so much of it dark smoke, which is a bad sign, although we do see some white smoke, which is a better sign, but we see so much of the west side of Los Angeles just covered in smoke right now as this firefight continues, and as far as we know, this thing's still at 0% contained. Let's put some info on your screen to talk about some of the numbers that we're looking at right now when it comes to this firefight. Right now, the Palisades fire is officially at 15,832, although we know that it's more than that. This is burning in LA County. We're talking about Pacific Palisades. We've seen lots of Malibu burning. Thankfully, no structure loss in Santa Monica so far.
Eaton Fire, 10,600 acres. This is, yes, LA County as well, right near Pasadena, in the heart of Altadena, as we've had our crews out there as well. And then the third fire is the Hearst fire. This broke out late last night. Alex and I covered the originality of this, and this was a small fire, as they all, of course, start out to be, and then it quickly gained in size, although 700 acres by comparison, easy for me to say if my home isn't threatened, but 700 acres holding steady there. Let's hope that that one can be put out soon. That's the Hearst fire. And then there was this that erupted early this morning, the Woodley fire in the Sepulveda Basin right near Van Nuys, holding strong at 30 acres. At first, there was concern that that was going to erupt quickly with a rapid rate of spread, but Bob DeCastro was out there and said they actually downgraded that to 30 acres. So, all right, speaking of Bob, he has moved and he's at the Pasadena Convention Center where we are awaiting a press conference about the Eaton fire, not scheduled till 4 o'clock. Bob, what do we know?
Well, we're also here at the Convention Center, which has turned into one of the major evacuation centers for this region, for the Eaton fire. And I tell you, Marla, Alex, I have covered a lot of different stories here at the Convention Center, mostly conventions, kind of fun things. And it's really eerie and different to see it being utilized in a different way. But this is all to help the community.
One of the largest and most trusted heating and air conditioning companies in the state of Delaware. If you're here in Delaware or Maryland and you need a new furnace,
Yesterday or a couple of days ago, and now there are more and more people that are coming through these doors. I walk around inside, people are in cots. How many people do you have now that you're serving here at the Convention Center?
Yeah, so right now we have at least 1,000 people, with more coming in as time goes by throughout the day. And of those 1,000 people, you know, we're still getting people coming in just for resources. So that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, and you have people who have different needs, because I walked around and you have seniors here. I imagine I heard that there were some people who were evacuated from senior centers that had to be evacuated or actually burned down, so they're being housed here. So you have people of different levels. So once they walk through the doors, you kind of assess what it is that they need once they get here?
Yeah, so we'll check in with every resident and see if there are any needs they might have, such as access and functional needs, or maybe even dietary needs, just to make sure that their stay here is comfortable.
And I know that Red Cross just got here, and you're sort of helping Pasadena, the city of Pasadena, kind of taking over this scene here. What other services are you going to be offering here? I know that you do the regular stuff where people just need the basics like food, right?
So definitely we'll have food here, but for those who need longer term help, we offer dormitories. So there's a place to stay here for being overnight, as well as any other services like mental health services, general health services as well, just to make sure that they're doing okay.
Yeah. And I noticed that there are a lot of food trucks that came out here. Tell us about the food trucks that came out here. I imagine as we were talking, there were people who were coming up to you and asking you, how can we volunteer our help and our